Today's discussion is going to be careful what you post on the social media, because it can come back to haunt you. And welcome back, Frank Darras.
There's rarely that you see conversation going on anymore because everybody's looking down at their phones, accessing information. So it is all around us now, and it is really becoming an important part of a lawyer's repertoire. It's a literal gold mine of evidence that's out there, because if you think about it, in the old days, the hardest thing to get from a party or a witness was an admission, because it's typically out of court. They're not given their statement under oath, and you're trying to use it in court to prove the truth of what they said. An out-of-court statement offered to prove the truth of what was said, hey, generally it's out. In a text message format, there's no question. It's your phone. It's registered to you. That's stuff that's out there, and it's coming sailing into a court case. It's coming sailing in if somebody's looking at you as a potential employee. I know just in college sports, the first thing that a college recruiter does is look at a Facebook page. They look at a MySpace page to see what these kids were like in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. They look and see the Instagram to see what kind of posts there are. And they're going to make an investment in South Carolina of a $30,000 a year scholarship plus books and board, and they're going to invest $120,000 in a kid that's got a Facebook with alcohol or drugs or this or that. Not happening.
Anything you've ever said will, in fact, be held up and be used against you by your opponent, if at all possible. And the same holds true if you ever go to court. And that's your whole point. If you ever said, by God, I got a bad back, and there's evidence to prove otherwise, you're done. It's hard to defend when the evidence is there. Somebody that is screaming bloody murder, that, by golly, the big bad insurance company is denying their claim when they got their hand caught in the cookie jar. I think it does beg the question, however, Frank, does this mean that I shouldn't have a Facebook account? Does it mean I shouldn't tweet? What does it mean?
The idea is that the more information that's out there, accessible and available, I can tell you that in every disability case that I have, the last part of that claim file, the investigation that the carrier did, is social media. And they will have their investigators go through and look under business license, under corporations, LLCs, trying to find out whether there's any business activities. They go to LinkedIn, they go to Facebook, they go to all of the different media sites, and they pull down and they post and put into the claim file. And they're not doing that to help. They're doing that to hurt, so that when you get to court, if there's a credibility issue, if there's an issue about the extent and severity of your pain, and they've got some damaging photo of you in a compromising situation, or you use language where your language is inappropriate, or you're somebody that plays fast and loose. Those are the kinds of things that, from a credibility standpoint, all you've got is your word. You can't prove pain. They've got to believe you. And if you're uncredible or unlikable, or you've got stuff out there that's hurtful or harmful, or takes a position that offends a community, applying for a job, better be sure that you've gone back through what's on the Internet and do a self-analysis, because the employer is.
And what's acceptable in your age group may not be at all acceptable in the guy or gal who you're sitting across from who's doing the hiring.
It's going to follow you around like a ball and chain. It's like a bad dream that just won't go away. when you're explaining in a piece of litigation, whether it's disability, Social Security, workers' comp, employment, whatever, when you've got to explain what you did and why you did it and how the context was, you're losing. You don't need that stuff to diminish your credibility or your truthfulness or your veracity. Be very careful, folks, about what we put out there.